Hi everyone, welcome to Fem Founders Live. Today I have with me Geraldine Carter, and I'm really happy to have her join us today. Geraldine is the founder of She Thinks Big Coaching. Now I'm going to tell Geraldine to to introduce herself to all of us before I continue with the intro. So Geraldine, welcome to the show and thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little about yourself and what you do?
Sure, thanks. Thanks for having me. So, my work is around helping accountants and CPAs go from being overwhelmed, overworked, working a 70-hour week, making good money, but not having time to appreciate what they have in their life, and I help them go down to a 40-hour work week and work with clients they love who are high paying and they get to do high quality, high value work for those people. So we make that transition over the period of 5 to 9 months, depending. So that's the nature of my work. And then I'm located in central Idaho in the mountains and um, and have a long history of being in business. This is my second business. So my experience of accounting is on the user side, not as a CPA or an accountant.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us, Geraldine. And today's topic is something that I know you have so much experience in, and you'll be able to do justice to it. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm really excited actually. So everyone, welcome again to Fem Founders Live. I'm Tosin. I work with Financial Sense, a practice management software for tax firms, CPAs, accountants, and bookkeepers. Fem Founders Live is a semi monthly event that we have live on LinkedIn and Facebook, where we speak to experts like Geraldine, on different topics that are very, useful and valuable to accountants, bookkeepers, CPAs, and tax firm owners. So today's topic is quite interesting, and it's something that I believe many people will find really valuable. Today, we're talking about how to work fewer hours yet multiply your firm's revenue. In a world where we believe that you need to work more, you need to work extra hours to make extra money, it seems weird to see a topic that says how to work fewer hours yet multiply your firm's revenue. And so I'm really, really, really excited to dive into this topic with Geraldine. So once again, thank you for joining me, Geraldine. I'm going to start with something I believe every business owner should understand, and that is value, right? As an accountant, as a bookkeeper, I need to be able to provide value to my customers, and that's what is going to really differentiate me from others. So, Geraldine, what is value and why is it important?
Yeah. So it's a great lead in and an important question because for the business owner, for the accountant who doesn't fully appreciate or understand value, they will be leaving money all over the table in terms of pricing, in terms of revenue. So value can be, for many people, an abstract concept, but I like to break it down into tangible pieces so that you, the accountant, can create so that you understand what exactly is valuable and set about creating value for your clients. So most accountants deliver services and deliverables, P&Ls, reports, and monthly accounting services. Value is something that is subjective and it is always in the eye of your beholder, and every person values things differently, which makes it challenging for those of us who are numbers people who like discrete answers and things that are tidy and in boxes, difficult to get our heads around. But if you can think about value as the most one of your customers or clients will pay for something, that is value. And they get to decide what that is. So let me just give you some quick examples of what value. key value for your clients, just as much as they value the experience, meaning they want to have friction-free experience, something that is simple and easy, something that is doable. They like communication that's clear and timely, and they value transformation. They have somewhere they're trying to go, most likely, not always, but your clients who want to go somewhere value your expertise in helping them get there. So lots of things are valuable for accountants that they can create. We can just tap into and get our heads around, how do I actually, in a sort of stepwise process, go about creating value for my clients. Is that better if I do this?
Yes.
Great. So I can keep going on that, talking about value, or if you want to jump in with a question there, either one is fine.
Okay. I mean, you can continue, talking about value. But I think before we continue talking about that, I would like us to just backtrack a little and allow you to tell me what you think. Do you think it's possible to work fewer hours yet multiply your firm's revenue? And how is that even possible?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so it is absolutely possible. This is the work that I do with my clients, and I'll tell you a story just to make it real and get it out of the clouds of theory.
Yeah.
So I have one client, for example, who has niched into a certain niche, and she's niched into farming. And when we set about understanding what her clients were looking for and what they needed in order to run more profitable farms, we were able to identify a number of locations where she could provide guidance and expertise and provide that value and expertise in a much more cohesive experience for her farming clients. So we designed the services to be exactly in an ideal world what that farmer wanted, and with the cadence of the meetings, and because farming, for example, is a seasonal business, the cadence of the meetings, when they would need certain kinds of reports and financial statements, when they would need to be able to go to the bank for loans for the following season.
Yeah.
And we dug into what her clients needed in a perfect world, and then set about building as close as we could to that. And her clients were delighted by this. And we priced it in a way that she thought was quite high and was a bit intimidated by. And we role played, how is this going to sound in the conversation talking to your clients? And she put the proposals in front of them, and all of them said yes. None of them batted an eye at the price. And all of those have converted from typical kind of accounting services, tax return clients to high paying, high margin clients.
Mm-hmm.
The end result is that she went from working 70 hours a week down to working 5 hours a week.
Wow.
On September 6th, right before the second
Yeah.
tax season, her desk was clear of files, and there were no files or tax returns on the shelves behind her. And she had also taken most of August and most of July off. And she made $400,000 more than she'd made the previous year.
Wow.
That's what value does for your accounting firm.
Wow. And how do you create value, right, Geraldine? Because I mean, this story you just shared is mind blowing. But then it's a true story, right? So it means it's possible. People are doing it. So you've already told us what value means. I think I just want to understand right now, like all our listeners and people watching us, how do you create value that helps to cut your work hours from, say, 80 hours a week to maybe 30 or 20 hours a week?
Yeah. So the key is to understand what your clients, your buyers value. And each of your clients
Yeah.
values things differently. But we need to understand what they value, and we need to find the overlap of what are the things that they are valuing so that we can design services that line up with what they value. I'm a huge proponent of finding a niche or narrowing down and picking who you want to work with so that your clients tend to look like each other. And the more they look like each other, the more they're in the same industry, the more they're in the same revenue band, the more they will tend to value the same kinds of things, thereby making it easier to design your packages the same again and again and again and capturing value for multiple people at once.
Mhm.
But coming back, how do you create value? So we need to it requires talking to your clients and understanding what it is that they want. What's the
Yeah.
experience that they want from their accountant or CPA? And where is it that they're trying to go? What is the transformation that they are seeking? Are they trying to go from 1 million to 3 million in revenue over the next 5 years? Are they
Mhm.
trying to go from 500,000 to 750,000 in the next 18 months?
Mhm.
Are they trying to go from 2 rental properties to 4? What is it that they are trying to create? And once we understand the transformation that they are seeking, then we can back into how do I design the services and how do I price the services in order to capture the value. And because the more you create value, your prices fall in lockstep. The more you create value, the higher your prices are. The higher your prices are, if you are doing high margin, effortless value kind of work, the fewer clients you take on, the lighter your workload gets.
True. Right? So I want us to just break that down a little more because on Fem Founders Live, we try to be as practical as possible. So anyone joining us right now, if they want to actually put into practice what you said, how do you talk to your customers? Do you need to get on a call with them, send out a survey and forget about it? How do you go through that process of understanding what your customers you know, define as success and providing that value to them?
Yeah. So there are a couple ways to do this in here. And one of them is that you've been working with your clients for a long time and you have a sense of what they need. So I will ask my clients who I work with, imagine any one of your really good clients has their who is a high quality business owner who's been in practice for a long time, who knows what they're doing, but doesn't necessarily have all their financials all organized. Just imagine that one person and imagine if you had all the time in the world to spend with them, what would you do to help them grow their business? And usually the accountant, so this is a question I ask my clients, usually the accountant can list off a number of things that they would do to help their client increase their profit, grow their revenue, get more organized and so on. So you and okay, so you know already how you can provide value for your client if only in air quotes you had more time. But we need to get out of this I don't have time kind of thinking in order to create the time to create the value. So that's the first piece in terms of pragmatic tangible advice. Imagine one client who you know could be more profitable and think through all the things that you could do to help them. The second place to look is imagine all the conversations that you have with your client and all the things that they say to you about what's helpful, and imagine all the questions that they've come to you in the past with. Those are things that they're wanting help with. So you can go right to information that you already have from conversations with existing clients and what you already know from based on years of experience. Those are 2 out of the 3 places. The third way is to simply talk to your clients, to schedule a simple meeting with them. You don't have to have 20 meetings. You can typically get what you need in 4 to 6 meetings with different clients.
Yeah,
You can ask them because the patterns will appear, right? After you have 6 meetings, you're gonna get diminishing returns of getting the same answers again and again. What
yeah,
you're looking for is 4 to 6 different clients who you have meetings with, and you ask them, what is it that you're trying to create in your business? Where are you trying to go? Where are you struggling? What is it that you don't know that you wish you knew? You ask them questions like that to surface where they're stuck, and you will uncover all kinds of ways that you can help them that you might not have been aware of. So, those are the 3 places that you can go looking for ways to create value for your clients that you then bake into your packages.
Thank you, Geraldine. So going to packages, right? So the first thing is you understand what value you can bring to the table by going through the three steps you just shared. Thank you for that. Now, moving on to your packages, your pricing and all that. My question is, why can't you just price your accounting and bookkeeping services like, why do you need to use the value you create or the value you offer to determine your pricing? Why is it important?
You can simply price accounting and bookkeeping.
That's true.
The You can flat rate it and price just accounting and bookkeeping. What you'll find is that it is not where the most value is. The problem with it, in direct answer to your question, is that you're walking past easy money. And there's much easier money in focusing on the transformation that your clients are looking for, in focusing on making it a high quality experience. This is where, once again, the fingerprints of hourly billing are all over accountants' businesses. And that the thinking is, I have to do work in order to make money. But you don't have to work. Work isn't what makes money. And many of us who grew up with hourly wage jobs have, a tendency to think this way, that work is what makes money because we got paid for the hours that we worked. And then as accountants, the accountant goes out into business and charges for the hour that they work. But that's not where the value is. That just happens to be the metric that they choose to use to price their services. So really the problem, if it's not a problem for you, then it's not a problem. But if you would like to work fewer hours and still protect your revenue, the path to doing that is focusing on the experience for the client and focusing on the transformation for the client. And then you price that instead. You capture the value you create with the transformation and the experience, and you use pricing tools to capture the value. And that's how you can work fewer hours while still making the money that you'd like to make.
Awesome. I'd just like to tell everyone in the comment section, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, anything, please feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm seeing them live, and I'll be happy to tell Geraldine to answer. Tell Geraldine about any questions that that needs to be answered. Okay. Thank you, Geraldine, for everything you've shared so far. I would like us to go into pricing, right? You've talked
Mhm.
about why it's important to, why you can't just wake up one morning and just choose to price maybe your services as you feel like, but rather to use how much value you bring to the table. Because, like you actually said something. I had to write it down in my notes. Work isn't what makes money, and I have to agree. There are people that work harder than everybody in this world, yet they make so little. So you can't tell me that it's the amount of work you do. It's because they are the most hardworking. You are the biggest hustler. That's why you're making the most money. I totally agree with your sentiments on that. So how do you go about pricing and bundling your packages? After you've understood the value you are bringing to the table, the value you are offering to your clients.
It's a great question. How do you price and package your services once you've understood the value that you create for your clients?
Yeah.
So this is what I work with my clients on: designing packages that are driven by the result that we're trying to help the client achieve. So when we can do this, well, let me just cut to the chase. I'm a huge proponent
Mm-hmm.
of, for accountants as a pricing tool, bronze, silver, gold, right? Tiered flat rate pricing. There's a lot of, I hear commonly in the accounting space, people say that flat rate is cost plus. Flat rate doesn't have to be cost plus. Flat rate can be cost minus if you want. It can be cost plus if you want, or it can be utterly divorced from cost. So we start with bronze, silver, gold. and we set flat rate prices for bronze, silver, gold, but we pin it off of value instead of pinning it off of prices. And the bronze, silver, gold is designed with a certain kind of buyer in mind. This comes back to niching. One of the reasons I'm a huge proponent of narrowing who you want to work with is that it enables you to design fewer variations of bronze, silver, gold, and having to create a custom package for every single one of your clients. When you work with a discrete type of client, fewer variations on kinds of clients, the outcomes they tend to want have similarities. The bronze, silver, gold packages that you develop are almost always, or are very close to being ready for proposal the way that they are, with a few small customizations. You're not having to recreate the wheel every single time. So I like bronze, silver, gold, and then it allows your client to choose what level am I ready to work with you at. And the other tool that I really like that is not common in the accounting space is a single 1-hour strategy session and a half-day VIP day that you flat rate again, and that enables the client to work with you without having to become your ongoing accounting client. So it bridges the gap between what is a big decision for your buyer of, do I switch all of my accounting over to this person, or am I not ready yet? And if they can work with you in a small bite size, it puts an extra slat in the bridge that may have been too wide for them to span on their own.
Thank you, Geraldine. There's a question in the chat. Someone, let me just put it on the screen so you can see it.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
We take on bad debt. We only collect a fee when the debtor pays. How would you apply that to on accounting and tax prep? How would I apply that on accounting and tax prep? Let me see. Let me just make sure that I understand your question. How about a different business model like collections? We take on bad debts and only collect a fee when the debtor pays. Yeah, okay. So I do upfront pricing only. There in my world, we do not do pay after you get the service. So because we want to stay out of this collections sort of game, it's not good for you, it's not good for, and it's not good for your buyer. Your clients deserve a price up front. Just imagine yourself going into the grocery store and not having there be any prices on anything in the entire grocery store, which is probably fine for the tomatoes and the milk. But imagine walking into the wine section where you don't know a thing about wine and how expensive it might get if you don't know what you're doing. And your buyer doesn't know a thing about accounting services and how expensive it might be. You put them in an unfair position by expecting them to have some sense of what it's going to cost when they really don't know. And if I can be a straight shooter here, if you don't know how long it's going to take you to do a certain amount of work, it's incumbent upon you, the seller, to tell your buyer it could be as expensive as $8,000, $20,000, $4,000, whatever it might be. It's not fair to the buyer to be hit with a surprise bill, not from the IRS, not from their accountant. So it's up to the accountant to have as clear an understanding as possible of how long, in air quotes, something is going to take. But just get out of hourly billing altogether and just price the thing that you're going to do. And if your buyer doesn't want to buy it for that price, then they don't want to buy it. So really, my higher level answer for this question is only take on clients who are more than happy to pay up front in full every single month. And then you get out of the collections game.
Okay. That's the answer to your question, Harley. Do you have any follow-up questions or comments? Please feel free to ask a follow-up question or something. Okay. Geraldine, thank you so much for everything so far, for sharing so much, with us. My last question really is what's that one thing you want to say to conclude this topic, right? Let's say someone is just joining us right now and they missed everything we've said before now. What's
Yeah.
that one thing you would want to say that would be impactful to them around this topic?
So there's so much here to talk about, and I cover value and pricing extensively on my podcast. So that's really the best. If you want more on this, that is a great resource for you. Really, what I would say, just for the purposes of a nice summary answer, is if you want to work less and make great money still as an accountant, which you are fully capable of doing, go in the direction of value creation for a small subset of like clients, i.e., find a niche, decide what problem you're going to solve for them, choose your packages and your prices, and sell only that. That will make your business easier to run, higher margin, higher profit, less time.
That's a lovely summary, Geraldine. Thank you. But I can't let you go yet because we have a couple of questions in the chat. I hope you don't mind helping to answer them. Okay, thank you. So there's a follow-up question from Ali. It says that was not hourly billing; it was a commission on the ARL.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
so I, so I think you might need to reach out to
yeah.
Geraldine privately for this conversation. It's more, what do you think?
Let me see if I can address this quickly. Sometimes it's hard to understand these questions when they're really specific.
Yeah,
Um, but let me just see if I can take a crack at it. It was not hourly billing on the client had. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just say straight up, this is what I focus on for the folks I work with is to help them moving forward in terms of designing the business that they want to create, designing the accounting firm with the packaging, the pricing, and the kinds of clients.
yeah.
Sometimes that comes along with how do we solve these problems that are sort of vestige problems that come with having purchased a book of business and so on. But really, this isn't the sandbox that I play in. So I think there's probably somebody who's better suited for how to handle that answer. I'd rather do that than just give you an answer out of thin air.
Okay, thank you. There's a follow-up, there's a question from Josh. Josh, who helped us share the right link on the other page. Thank you, Josh. It says, how many niches are too many to focus your offerings on?
Yeah. So at the outset, honestly, one is the best because when you focus on one, you dig deep into the expertise of that niche and it makes what you need to study so much easier. It really narrows what this like the scope of what you need to be an expert on. And it the more you can narrow and just pick one, and I get that it feels constraining, but you'll make more distance and you'll set yourself apart. You'll separate yourself from the pack much faster than if you try and have four niches, for example. So I recommend one, you pick one, you focus on it, you understand, you work through the process of driving value and being and delivering, creating packages and services for just that niche, selling only that. Once you've mastered that after 2-3 years, if you decide you want to bolt on another niche, you can. And I've seen clients do this. It works quite well. You can keep bolting on niches because the process for niching and becoming an expert is the same. But mastering the process of just one niche is plenty of work unto itself. So I recommend one just to keep your life simple.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, Dawn, you asked for a podcast link. I just dropped it in the comments section. There's another question here. Gold, silver, bronze is excellent, but then what do you put in each subclass? I
Yeah,
think you touched on that earlier.
sure. And I'm happy to touch on it again because I do think it's so important. And for those looking for my podcast, it's the Business Strategy for CPAs podcast. Like you say, the link is there in the chat. what to put in each subclass is really based on what the buyer is looking for in terms of transformation. And this is why we push the value, push on the value, because then you can focus simply on the transformation they're looking for. And then you ask yourself, what do I need? What do they need in terms of services, in terms of, do they need accounts payable? Do they need accounts receivable? Do they need payroll? And if the answer is yes, then you add it in. If the answer is no, you don't include it. But you design the package that's going to get their desired outcome. The opposite of that is kind of building from the ground up and just tossing it out and hoping that people pick it up, which is a much harder sell and a heavier lift.
Yeah.
So go out to the end, begin with the end in mind of what problem you're trying to solve for them, what problem they want solved, and then design your packages.
Okay, thank you. I think that was a very good answer to the question. I think even though I'm not a business strategist with as much experience as you, I think it still all boils down to like understanding the transformation your clients desire, and then using that to like tier your services and put some in the gold package, silver, bronze, and all that. So it's not something Geraldine can be particularly specific, for your firm. It's something you would have to come up with yourself based on your talk with your customers. All right. Thank you, Geraldine. We still have a couple of questions. I know I told you this was supposed to be a 20 to 25 minutes chat, but I mean, I think this is good. People are engaging and they have questions to ask. Okay. There's one here about how to gain American clients. Do you want to answer that? I
Sure.
think I think another way to put this question is how to gain clients outside of wherever you're working out from.
Yeah. How to get out from your geography, if you will.
Yeah.
So the first question I would ask is, are you, do you want to serve clients in the US if you're in Canada? And if, of course, if the answer is yes, given the question, then what is it? So let me come at it from a different way. Whether they're American or Canadian or any other geography,
Yeah.
come at it from the direction of whether they're American or whether they're across the ocean. What is the problem that I want to solve? And then once you figured out what is the problem that I want to solve, package and price, sell that only. But then how do I get in front of them? And we haven't gotten this far today, but we can dip our toes in this water. How do I get in front of them? So now this comes back to the value of having a niche and working with a narrow band of clients, is that you can speak directly to their problems. And when you can speak directly to their problems, it makes it so much easier for them to find you and to buy from you. And a great way, and this is, if we can say thanks to COVID, if there are silver linings in this, it has enabled so many of us to better leverage online and digital and so on. So if you want to get up and out of your geography, some ways to do it are getting on either on other people's podcasts or creating your own, having a website that speaks directly to your clients' challenges, the problems they have, how you solve them. Creating an email list is another way to capture their email addresses, you answer the questions they have. Another way is to create a Facebook group. But if you create a Facebook group, you've got to capture, foot traffic. They might not just wander by your door, so you have to get out and promote it. That's where podcasting and other forms of writing, speaking come in incredibly handy, especially for people who want to rise up out of their zip code. I realize that for most accountants in the traditional business model, writing, speaking is not your jam, right? You're numbers people.
Yeah.
I get it. And you also, I would stretch you to think differently, because one of the reasons likely you became an accountant is you like people. There are accountants who don't want to be around people and they're happy crunching numbers, and I get that. But if you want to get up and out and you like talking with people, you know how to have conversations about money and math in plain English. So if you can stretch yourself into simply thinking of your platform, whatever you choose, whether it's webinars, whether it's crowdcasts, whether it's podcast, simply thinking about it in terms of having conversations about money and numbers in plain English with people, that's what you talk about, and that can get you up and out of your whatever geographical limitations you might have. Let me tell you, I live in a town of 3,000 people buried in the mountains of Idaho. I don't have a single client within a 500-mile radius.
Wow.
And it's because I knew I was limited by geography, but I saw it as an opportunity, which was, for me, in my case, podcast. So what I hope your audience can take from that is like, hey, I too live in like a tiny town in the middle of nowhere. And you can absolutely make it work when you talk about solving people's problems in plain English in a way that it relates directly to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as a marketer, I totally agree with what you just shared.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like podcasting is a great way to meet people and to meet their own audiences. So you expose yourself beyond your own, little cocoon or whatever geography you're in. So your response was spot on. Thank you. There's one last question and then we'll let you go. All right. Is there a best practice to overcome the client's objections to cost increase to value pricing, specifically with existing clients that may be hourly or fixed costs?
Yeah. Great. I love this question. Okay. So overcoming clients' objections to cost increases. Okay. So if it's value pricing and value pricing has been done well, the price will be underneath the value. And if the
Mhm.
price is underneath the value, then that helps alleviate the objections. The objections come when, and this might not be your exact situation, but I'm explaining this concept for everyone who's listening. The closer the price is to the value, the more likely the price objection, right? If there's a 5-to-1 ROI, there's very limited price objection. But when the ROI is like 1.1 to 1, then you get closer to price objections. More specifically to your answer, is there best practice with existing clients? Here's what I do. And Lauren Fogelman, who you also did one of these with, had a great answer that I completely agree with. And that is with your tiered services, you make bronze, silver, gold, and you take your existing clients and you put their existing price in between bronze and silver. That way they can, and you remove some of the services in the bronze, so they would have to give something up and they would drop in price. But most people don't want to give something up. They want to get more things. So you give them bronze, silver, gold with your previous price in between bronze and silver. That way they can step down if they want to, but you also give them the option to step up into silver and gold. And it gives them a choice so that they don't feel like it's a take it or leave it. The other thing that I want to say about this, just briefly, is that I just wrote a 7-series email. I write a daily email to my audience. It's very short. It's less than a minute to read. And I just wrote 7 ways to increase your prices on existing clients. So you can scoop that up. It's at my website, geraldinecarter.com. And I also wrote 6 reasons that it's great for your clients to increase your prices. It's good for your clients when you charge them more. It's hard to get your head around, but there are 6 reasons there. So you can scoop both of those up at my website. I'll have them ready for you. Actually, shoot me an email if you want those, which is, I'll give it to you. It's gc@geraldinecarter.com, so that I can get those to you, because they have gone out in the past and you won't be able to get up to speed right away. So if you're interested, send me that email. But just know that there are many tools you can use, many methods you can use to raise your prices on existing clients, and it's good for them. So I hope that sort of bends your mind a little bit, but provides some inspiration for making those changes.
All right. Thank you very much, Geraldine. I think that's everything. Those are all the questions. And for everyone that joined us, I dropped a couple of resources in the chat. First, I sent the video I had with Lauren where she talked about how to overcome objections. Then I also shared Geraldine's free resources. The link is there in the chat so you can click on it. Geraldine, someone is asking for your email address.
Yeah. Yeah. It's GC, like Geraldine Carter, gc@geraldinecarter.com.
Okay. So I'm also dropping that in the chat for everyone who wants it. And I would like to apologize again to everyone who joined the other link and missed out on the first few minutes of the chat. I apologize, and I will ensure that it never happens again. I'll find out why that happened. Apologies and thanks for coming here. Again, I am Tosin Thomas from Financial Sense. Financial Sense is a practice management software for accounting firms, bookkeepers, CPAs. We help you hit your deadlines and get work done. I would like Geraldine to just tell us a little bit about how you can reach out to her and work together.
Yeah, thanks. So you've got my email address. If you want to reach out to me, I'm really accessible. That's the best way. And the other options you've heard me mention are you can listen to my podcast, Business Strategy for CPAs, and subscribe to my email list where I'm dripping out business strategy for accountants and CPAs only on the regular in bite sizes to help you advance your firm.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Geraldine, and everyone that joined this conversation. It's been a good one. It's been a great one. And I'll see everyone again in 2 weeks' time. Actually, the next one is happening next week, I believe. I'll send out an email so that you can join as well. Thank you, Geraldine, and thanks everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.